Hey, I'm Zachary Harrison, a local real estate agent with Top Agent Realty here in Troy, Michigan. Some of you may know me already, some of you don't. That's all right. By the end of this video, you're going to get to know me pretty well. I'm making this video because I got a lot of first-time home buyers. You guys got a lot of questions. I got a lot of answers. I'm going to be going over a bunch of information in these next few videos. I'm going to be going everything from getting pre-approved to your credit score to the contract itself to the closing table. A little bit about me before we jump into that though. My name is Zach. I've been doing this for a little over 2 years now. I've helped about 40 buyers and sellers get to where they need to be. Before this, I was in the military, and before that, I worked a regular 9-to-5 job at a call center. Since then, I've fallen in love with real estate so much, I even started my own property management company where I help landlords handle their investments. The first step of the home purchasing process is going to be getting pre-approved. A pre-approval is important for a number of reasons, mainly so that way you know how much you can afford when you start looking at homes. We don't want to be sending you things that are outside your price range. Also, having that pre-approval lets us submit offers, so once we do find the home you love, we can get it accepted. Also, the lender, whether it be a bank, a credit union, or a broker, matters. So what I mean by that is a lender may have different requirements than another lender. Banks and credit unions are only working with one product, which is the one they offer. A mortgage broker can look at different banks and compare and see what the best option is for you. Another thing you need to look out for is pre-qualifications. They're not the same as pre-approvals, and the main difference is being they haven't checked your credit and they haven't verified any of your income. After getting pre-approved, the next step is finding a home you love. And while you're getting pre-approved, I probably already brought you into my office and got a good idea of what you're looking for, so that way I can send you your best options. I'll be sending you homes through the MLS, which most of you probably haven't heard of. It's the multiple listing service. If you've heard of Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, they get all their information, all their listings from our service, the MLS. It's a realtor-only service, but what I can do is get you a portal into it so you'll get listings as soon as they hit the market. Those other sites that I mentioned will take about 24 to 48 hours to get those listings up on their site, so you'll have an edge over other buyers. So once you find a few homes you love, we'll go and take a tour of them. I'll be pointing out everything I see, whether it's good or bad, so that way you can make the best informed choice. So the third step is actually putting in an offer. Once we find a home that you're in love with, we're going to go ahead and put in that offer. Now there's a lot of variables to putting in an offer, which I'm going to be covering in a separate video because there's too many to go over right now. It requires a whole video on its own. So for the sake of this video, we're going to say we got your offer accepted, and the next step is the inspection. When we do the inspection, there are three things that can happen. The first thing that could happen is that we find very minimal issues with the home, and we're going to move forward. The reason why I say minimal issues is because I've never seen a perfect home inspection report. Every home is going to have its issues. We're just looking for the big ticket items. So the second scenario that can arise is we do find a big ticket item that needs to be fixed or replaced or repaired. When I say big ticket items, I'm talking about windows, the mechanicals such as the furnace, the water heater, the roof, things of that nature. So in the second scenario where we do find something, let's say for instance the roof needs to be replaced, we have three options. Our first option is asking the seller to replace or fix the problem itself. Our second option would be to put in a new purchase price lower than what we were originally offering. And the third option, which I recommend the most, is seller concessions. Basically, the seller will be giving you cash at closing to help cover the repair costs. So one of the things I need to add real quick is the third scenario that can happen in an inspection, which is if we find something detrimental to the house. So let's say we see that the basement is having foundation issues, maybe the concrete's messed up. We don't want to deal with that, and we can just go ahead and back out without any repercussions. So something to note about the inspection that most buyers don't know, it's an out-of-pocket cost. It'll cost you anywhere from $300 to $600 depending on the size of the new home you're purchasing. So let's say we're moving on from the inspection, which is going to take about a week. The next step is the appraisal. Now with the appraisal, your lender's going to reach out to you to get it ordered with a third-party appraiser. He's going to go out and determine the value of the home for the bank. Now there are three things that can happen with this appraisal. The first one is the appraiser can come out and he can say that the home is worth more than what we're purchasing it for, which is a best case scenario. The reason I call this a best case scenario is because you still get to purchase for whatever it says on the contract. So, for instance, if we were purchasing it for $200,000 and the appraiser comes back and he says it's worth $205,000, we still only go forward on that purchase price of $200,000, but you get $5,000 of instant equity in your home. So, second scenario is the appraiser comes back and he says the home is worth exactly what you're purchasing it for. So, in the same scenario, you're purchasing for $200,000, the appraiser comes back and says it's worth $200,000. This is still very good. We get to move forward. You get the full loan amount. Now it's that third scenario we got to look out for. So using the same numbers, if the appraiser comes back and he says the home is worth $195,000, well, now we have an issue between us and the seller. You see, the seller only has to move forward on whatever the purchase agreement says, which is $200,000. You, because of your appraisal contingency, only have to go for what the home appraises for, which is that $195,000. Now what will happen in this scenario is I'll be reaching out to the listing agent to negotiate and get the price down as close to that $195,000 as possible. Another big thing to note is that the bank is only going to agree to a purchase price of $195,000 unless you decide to come up with cash out of pocket to increase the purchase price. But for this video's sake, let's say we agree on $197,500. Just to reiterate, that $2,500 is going to be coming out of pocket because you'll only be getting a loan of $195,000. You may be asking, Zach, why don't you know the value of the home? I do. The appraiser might not. In all seriousness though, the appraiser's job is to figure out the price of the home. We do that as real estate agents and appraisers by looking at comparable homes that have sold nearby, preferably in the same neighborhood, same size, same benefits and features. So by looking at these things and comparing the benefits and features of sold nearby listings, I can determine the value of the home. Now the appraiser may be using different comps to determine the value of the home. That's why our numbers may be different. So something to note about the appraisal is that it's going to take about 2 to 3 weeks to complete. Also, it is an out-of-pocket cost for you, the buyer, and you can expect that to be anywhere from $400 to $600 depending on the lender. So let's say we're moving on to the next step, whether we negotiated or it overappraised. The next step is final underwriting. What's going to happen is the lender is going to be reaching out to you, asking you for some more documents. Once they have these documents, the underwriting team is going to do a final approval of the loan, and we're going to get something called a clear to close. Once we get the clear to close, we'll be all set to close on the home. So that brings us into the last step, which is the closing. It's going to take a few days to schedule the closing because we have a lot of schedules to go around. We have mine, yours, the seller's, and both title companies, and a listing agent. So after the closing, you're going to get the keys and you can start moving into your new home. So all in all, the entire process from putting in an offer to closing is going to take about a month to a month and a half. To reiterate, that's about 1 week for the inspection, 2 to 3 weeks for the appraisal, and then another week for final underwriting, depending on how soon you get the documents to the lender, and then a few more days for scheduling the closing. That, of course, is not including any negotiations, which may add a few extra days to maybe a week or two. With that being said, that's the entire home purchasing process. Keep in mind this is for Southeast Michigan. I can't say for any other states that I'm not licensed in. Also, this is for a conventional mortgage. With other types of mortgages, there may be other contingencies. And I'll get into that in my next video where I go over everything that has to do with a mortgage. So with that being said, if there is any other questions, concerns I can help you out with, do not hesitate to call, text, or email me at any time. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.